as I was on my deathbed looking at hentai, I saw on Twitter that apparently that the Uncharted series was talked about in the Buzzfeed article that the creator of The Last of Us did. Neil Druckmann came out, he did an interview because The Last of Us TV show has been doing phenomenal. He did a little 20s behind the scenes fun facts about the filming of the show or whatever. And apparently from this article is when they started discussing, or I guess he brought up the Uncharted series. It says number 17. Neil is open to The Last of Us Part 3 game, but it depends on whether the team can come up with a compelling story that has this universal message and statement about love. When asked about the future of the franchise, Neil began, "We've been pretty open that the next Last of Us game is going to be this multiplayer experience, where you'll be able to enter the world of The Last of Us with your friend and get to experience the tension and the brutality of that world, and a brand new story and cast of characters who live in another city that we haven't seen yet in the world of The Last of Us." He goes on to say, "Beyond that, I know there's a bunch of people wondering about The Last of Us Part 3 and whether that will be a thing or not. All I can say is that Naughty Dog, we're very, very privileged that our publisher is Sony, which means Sony funds our games, supports us, and we're owned by Sony. They have supported us every step of the way to follow our passions, meaning that just because something is successful, people think there's all this pressure and we have to make a sequel. That's not the case. For us, Uncharted was insanely successful. Uncharted 4 was one of our best-selling games, and we're able to put our final brushstroke on that story and say that we're done, we're moving on. Likewise with The Last of Us, it's up to us whether we want to continue it or not. Our process is the same thing we did when we did Part 2, which is if we can come up with a compelling story that has this universal message, this statement about love, it's like the first and second game did, then we will tell that story." See, what I like about things like this, though, is like, a bunch of people, and of course, naturally, you're gonna be like sad about not seeing like another Uncharted game, or if they decide not to go through with another sequel for The Last of Us. And I'm just saying, like, as like the leader of the Nathan Drake Stay a Pimp fan club, it's a bummer hearing this, but at the same time, you can't help but give it respect, because I'm like, nowadays when you see all these games that start off with like a pretty good premise, or even like games like back in the day that started off as just like a mere game and it might have like 2 or 3 sequels, and then they start growing into these giant franchises. I don't know if there's like a term for it, but you know how like when American dramas get really popular, they become so popular that they overstay their welcome, and then it goes long beyond overstaying their welcome, and the motherfucker has like moved into your home, uses your pots and pans to cook, goes in the fridge and drinks the orange juice from the bottle, raw dogging it. Because I can't stand it when like you see like American dramas and they'll have like 20, 30 seasons of a show, and like at that point the show just like loses all the meaning, all the themes that it was like bringing up. It just becomes this like hollow skeleton of itself that is just like going forward with the purpose of just solely making money. And I'm like, I know there's a bunch of games like that do the same thing. Halo, COD, and then there's probably like a bunch of other franchises that I can't name right now that are just like not even releasing games to please their fan base. They're just releasing games just because it's popular and it makes money. Imagine Uncharted 7 featuring Goku from Fortnite, But I say all that to say is that I'm glad that like there are some companies like Naughty Dog where like there's no need to do anything else. Let the game sail off into the sunset on a high note. So I'm very bummed out, but also happy that Uncharted has gotten its end. If anything, what I need Naughty Dog to answer about though is that Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Cause I'm like, you can't just sit here and just let Uncharted go off on that type of mid note now.